Today's investigation, called Operation Pill Street Blues, is the culmination of a 2-year investigation conducted by the DEA in conjunction with the Indian River County Sheriff's Office, the Vero Beach Police Department, and the Florida Department of Health. This morning, approximately 250 federal, state, and local law enforcement personnel executed arrest warrants for 14 defendants, to include 7 pain pill clinic mill owners and 7 medical doctors. The execution of statewide search warrants at 7 pain clinics and 5 residences located throughout the state of Florida. At this time, 12 of the defendants are in custody and 2 will be surrendering shortly. This investigation began when law enforcement responded to community complaints regarding these suspicious activities at the Stuart Pain Management Clinic in Vero Beach, Florida. Further investigation led to the identification of a major pharmaceutical drug trafficking organization led by Mr. Louis Stouffer and his associates. Mr. Stouffer's associates consisted of doctors, clinic owners, and clinic managers who are responsible for the illegal diversion of millions of narcotic medications, to include oxycodone, roxycodone, Percocet, Xanax, and Valium. Utilizing undercover activities, surveillance, and judicial wiretaps, law enforcement officers began unraveling a web of criminal behavior that spanned the entire state of Florida. During the course of this operation, DEA and our law enforcement counterparts conducted 46 undercover visits and were prescribed over 2,700 oxycodone tablets. The 7 doctors arrested today were willing to write prescriptions for patrons that had no legitimate medical need for such medications. These doctors were responsible for prescribing and or dispensing over 2.1 million oxycodone tablets in 1 year. Louis Stouffer and his associates conducted their business solely for greed and profit. Collectively, members of this DTO conducted their business to serve one purpose only: to make money from the diversion of prescription drugs. One of those arrested today with Mr. Stouffer is Dr. Bruce Kammerman of Palm City, Florida. Dr. Kammerman alone prescribed over 640,000 tablets of oxycodone in less than 1 year. Folks, that's 12,000 tablets a week. That's 1,700 tablets a day. Also today, all 7 doctors were issued DEA immediate suspension orders, as they are considered to be an imminent threat to the public safety. Once served with an ISO, the doctor can no longer use his or her DEA registration to prescribe, administer, or dispense controlled substances. An ISO is issued against a doctor's DEA registration when it is determined that that doctor's prescribing of a controlled substance is so egregious and dangerous that their continued ability to prescribe controlled substances poses an imminent threat to the public health and safety. In addition, today, during our law enforcement activities, another doctor working at one of the clinics voluntarily surrendered his DEA registration after being approached by law enforcement. State search warrants were issued at 7 pain clinics located in Vero Beach, Daytona Beach, Jacksonville, Gainesville, Sarasota, Miami, and Pensacola, Florida. In addition, the Florida Department of Health has issued emergency suspension orders on 5 of these clinics. As a result of these ESOs, the clinic will no longer be able to operate and will be shut down. Search warrants were also issued today at 5 residences, 3 in Broward County and 2 in Palm Beach County. 1 DEA administrative inspection warrant was issued to the Sunset Pharmacy in Fort Myers, Florida. Also seized this morning were approximately 50 bank accounts containing approximately $1.1 million. $30,000 in cash was seized as well. This investigation revealed that Mr. Louis Stouffer, a Pompano Beach firefighter and owner of Sunset Pharmacy in Fort Myers, acted as an organizer, advisor, and consultant to the clinic owners, managers, and doctors who were arrested today. Mr. Stouffer went to great lengths to ensure his associates operated a seemingly legitimate business. He developed various schemes and provided legal instruction to the clinic owners and managers on how to beat the system and how to elude law enforcement. Most disturbing in this investigation is the information we received from judicially authorized wiretaps, information that revealed the organization's blatant lack of concern for the public's safety. Thank you. While Mr. Stouffer and his organization were trying to put on an air of legitimacy, they were secretly destroying lives. Their intent and actions are made more obvious by their own words. In August of 2011, a telephone call was intercepted where defendant and pain clinic owner Bruce Carlin discussed how a doctor of Stuart Pain Management was high on drugs. Mr. Carlin described the doctor as being a prescription addict, just like our patients. In September of 2011, a telephone call was intercepted discussing how defendant Dr. Bruce Kammerman of the Southern Back and Pain Clinic continued to prescribe narcotic pain medication to a patient after the patient confessed to him he was using fake urine to hide his drug abuse. And most disturbingly, in February of 2012, defendant and pill mill owner Bruce Carlin received a phone call from Mr. Ritter Cyphers regarding his brother, Mr. Forrest Cyphers. Ritter Cyphers told Mr. Carlin that his brother was a doctor shopper and pleaded with Mr. Carlin to save his brother. Carlin rudely dismissed Cyphers and told him they do not take anonymous calls, put your complaints in a letter, and he hung up. 27 days later, Ritter Cyphers called the office manager at the clinic and advised that his brother Forrest had died of a drug overdose. When Carlin learned of Forrest Cyphers' death, he laughed and joked to the manager, "Did you kill somebody?" Later, Mr. Sofa was intercepted talking to Mr. Carlin and advising him not to worry, as people die every day. Forrest Cyphers had been convicted on multiple occasions for possession of a controlled substance without a valid prescription. Mr. Stouffer's organization continued to provide Forrest Stouffer with narcotic prescriptions for over a year until he ultimately died. As a result of Forrest Cyphers' death, Mr. Bruce Carlin, Dr. Roger Gordon are being charged with manslaughter. As you are aware, Florida has been and still remains the epicenter for illegal pain clinic operations. According to the Florida Medical Examiner's Office, they have seen a 345% increase in the number of overdose deaths associated with oxycodone between the years 2005 and 2010. In 2010 alone, ladies and gentlemen, 4,000 people have died in the state of Florida from overdoses caused by methadone, oxycodone, hydrocodone, benzodiazepines, and morphine. This averages over 11 people a day dying in the state of Florida from prescription drug overdoses. I want to be clear. Today's actions are only part of DEA's efforts to shut down illegal pain clinics and arrest those doctors who betray the public trust. The DEA will not tolerate the illegal distribution of prescription drugs. We will continue to pursue and arrest those clinic owners, employees, and doctors who are posing as healthcare professionals, who hide behind their white coats and their diplomas while spreading misery for profit. We applaud all of our law enforcement partners throughout the state of Florida who participated in this 2-year multi-jurisdictional pharmaceutical drug and money laundering investigation. Together, we will continue to protect the public interest. In closing, on behalf of the men and women of the DEA, I want to thank our state and local partners who are standing here with us today. I'd like to recognize Ms. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of Florida, Sheriff Darrell Lohr of the Indian River County Sheriff's Office, Chief David Curry of Vero Beach Police Department, and Dr. John Armstrong, the Surgeon General of the state of Florida. I especially want to thank Deputy Statewide Prosecutor Julie Hogan for her outstanding efforts in leading this investigation. Assistant Statewide Prosecutor Priscilla Prado-Strohs, the prosecuting attorney, Nick Cox, Statewide Prosecutor, and Shannon McGillis, Assistant Statewide Prosecutor in Jacksonville, and all the men and women working for Ms. Bondi who've done such a wonderful job in the prosecution of this case. And I'd also thank Assistant State Attorney Ryan Butler, who did a great deal of the initial legwork on this case and got this thing going with us. Now, if you would, I would like to turn the podium over to Attorney General Pam Bondi for her comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Special Agent. Thank you for being here today. This is why we needed this legislation in our state. This is why this legislation was so very important. And this is why working together as a team is so important. We have stressed this from day one. This was a state, local, and federal partnership. We were all partners in this effort, and I'm so proud of DEA's actions, working with the Sheriff's Office, working with local law enforcement, my office, and multiple, look around the room, all these law enforcement officers from around the state who joined forces in this effort. Let me make myself clear. These defendants are despicable. They're sickening, and they're worse than your typical defendants. You know why? They should be held to a higher standard because many of them have the name doctor in front, title doctor in front of their names. 2 firefighters involved in this who used the trust of the public because they were firefighters to enhance their business. 2 firefighters who are supposed to be out there saving lives are taking lives and distributing this trash to our children. So this is nothing more than a modern-day street drug cartel. And this is the largest, this is bigger than Pill Nation, what our law enforcement officers have done. To give you a little history on how it happened, we're State Attorney Bruce Colton. Bruce, thank you. State Attorney Colton got together with Sheriff Lohr, and they started with 1 pill mill. And they joined forces with DEA, and boy, DEA, you took the ball and ran with it with the Sheriff's Office. Thank you. And that's the only way in this state how we're going to put these people out of business is all working together. Chief Curry came in, all of our sheriffs, all of our chiefs throughout the state, and worked in partnership together. And that's what it was all about. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about the charges. First of all, Sheriff, you are so lucky to have an Indian River Sheriff Lohr, because I'll tell you what, he has MACE. It's multi-agency criminal enforcement. And what that is, it's what we've been preaching all along. It's a task force. And it's everyone working together. And that's how this agency, the umbrella with DEA, started. So they joined forces then with my office, with the Office of the Attorney General, because we knew there were a lot of assets out there that needed to be seized. So the civil division, with my civil division, are you in here? Will you raise your hands? Yay, thank you guys. My civil division jumped in, and this is very important, and so far, I'm saying so far, they've seized $1.1 million. That's very important. They've seized those assets, along with our great statewide prosecutor, Nick Cox, Julie Hogan, and all my other assistant statewide prosecutors who I'm so proud of, who are going to take this case. Okay, all 14 defendants charged trafficking, conspiracy to traffic, racketeering, and on the racketeering, no, we have 54 predicate acts on the racketeering charge. That's huge. Conspiracy to commit racketeering. 2 defendants are charged with manslaughter. That's Dr. Gordon, and I use the term doctor loosely when I talk about that man, and Mr. Carlin, who is the owner of one of the pain clinics. Here's how our new laws are going to help these charges too. Dr. Armstrong, our wonderful new Surgeon General, boy, he hit the ground running, let me tell you. He went in, and in one day, he suspended 8 doctors. That is the most suspensions in one day in the history, correct, of Department of Health. Thank you, Dr. Armstrong, for everything you're doing. Our new laws enabled him to do that, to immediately suspend their license. Because in the past, what was happening was these doctors were still able to practice, which was unreal, while these investigations were going on. Also, these defendants are facing, if you add all the charges up, they're basically looking at life in prison. 25-year minimum mandatory on the trafficking based on our new legislation, and $500,000 fines each. So we're very, very proud of that. And again, I'd just like to thank everybody who participated together and joined forces. And now I would like to introduce our great Sheriff of Indian River, Sheriff Lohr. Thank you.
Thank you, Special Agent Trueville and General Bondi. It is indeed a pleasure to be here in front of you today. It is a safer day in Indian River County. I will tell you that. I am very, very proud of the hard work that the men and women at the Indian River County Sheriff's Office, the DEA, the Vero Beach Police Department, the Sebastian Police Department, Indian River Shores Public Safety, Bellsmere Police Department to some extent. And like the General said, this is a concerted effort. This is what has to happen statewide to be successful. We know that. We've proven that. This is probably the largest event in the history of Indian River County when it comes to drug arrest and drug trafficking arrest. I will tell you that our MACE unit is to be commended. They have been working nonstop for almost a year, 2 days short of a year, on some very, very high profile and highly sensitive things. And those men and women chugged along through the thick and thin. There were some high times and some low times, and I can assure you of that. There's a safer day in Indian River County. We're very, very proud to have these bad guys in jail. Thank you so much. I'd like to introduce Police Chief of Vero Beach, David Curry, and he has some words for you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I certainly echo a lot of the comments that have been made thus far. But as I said this morning, you know, these pill mills across the state and certainly here in Vero Beach have simply been masquerading as legitimate pain management facilities. And these individuals that are working there and running them are operating under pure greed. And as the Attorney General said, it's just simply despicable. When you leave their office, they don't care anything about you once you walk out that door. And we know by the numbers that we've referred to today. The pure greed and the disregard for human life, again, is just, again, despicable in any regard. I too want to commend everybody that's worked on this case. I've been here 22 and a half years, and I talked to Agent Burkett earlier, and this was one of the smoothest events and detailed events that I've ever been a part of in that time. Again, we've had a number of agencies involved, local, county, state, and federal, and I think it's a testament to the leadership along the Treasure Coast and throughout the state, but I can speak simply and specifically speak for the Treasure Coast, how we've improved our relationship throughout the years as far as working together and getting things done, because it went really, really smooth. And you know, this is our agency's 52-member agency, and we were able to have 6 attend throughout the year, and that's 10 to 11% of our workforce. So it was tough at times, but I wouldn't change it for anything. And it's just been a good experience for all our agents. I want to commend everyone once again that's been involved. I truly believe that we are a safer community. Florida, the county, and the city of Vero Beach is a safer community today than it was yesterday because of all these pill mills that have been shut down. So just simply proud to be a part of it, and again, wanted to thank everybody involved. Have a good day, and at this time I'd like to introduce Dr. John Armstrong, Surgeon General, Department of Health.
Thank you, Chief, and good afternoon. I commend the collective effort of the Drug Enforcement Agency, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the Attorney General, and Governor Rick Scott's strike force to safeguard Florida's public health by putting pill mills out of business. The close collaboration across our agencies and offices has reduced the time between law enforcement and medical quality assurance investigations and has moved us closer to ending prescription drug abuse in Florida. Today's emergency suspension orders prevent unscrupulous practitioners and clinics from endangering the lives of Floridians and visitors to our state. We remain vigilant, and our message is being heard. We will not permit the inappropriate prescribing of highly addictive controlled substances. This teamwork across our agencies will continue to improve processes for identifying, investigating, and prosecuting offenders like these. We will revoke the licenses of pharmacies, pain management clinics, and practitioners who do not follow the law. Together, we will win this war, saving lives and ensuring that Florida remains a safe place to live, work, and play.